Every empire has sworn by its strength armies, rulers, monuments. But behind them all, hidden in vaults, temples, and beneath royal crowns, lay something far more enduring, not iron, not stone, but gold. Gold, the metal that speaks no words, yet commands every civilization that has ever touched it. It is the one material that has never bowed to time, politics, or revolution. Empires have risen for it. Kingdoms have fallen because of it. And through every century, it has remained silent but powerful. Before we begin this journey through time, make sure to subscribe to The Echoes of Wealth, where we uncover the timeless principles, stories, and secrets that have shaped prosperity throughout history. Today, we journey through that silence. Through the story of a metal so mysterious that it shaped not only the wealth of nations, but the psychology of humanity itself. This is the silent power of gold. For thousands of years, gold has occupied a place no other material could. It doesn't rust, it doesn't decay, and it shines with the same brilliance today as it did when the first humans saw it glimmer in a riverbed. That permanence gave it something no ruler could buy: trust. Long before coins, before banks, before the idea of money, gold was already money in essence. When the first traders of Mesopotamia exchanged goods, gold was the ultimate equalizer, the silent judge of value. And when words failed, gold spoke. In Egypt, gold was the flesh of the gods. Pharaohs filled their tombs with it, believing it would accompany them into eternity. But it did more than decorate their afterlife, it funded their reign. Armies marched, temples rose, and trade flowed under the radiant promise of gold. Every grain of sand in Egypt's deserts hid traces of it, and entire expeditions were launched to gather more. It was not greed, it was survival. For to the ancient world, gold was divine order in physical form. Then came Lydia, a small kingdom in what is now Turkey. Around 600 BCE, its ruler, King Croesus, did something revolutionary. He minted the first standardized gold coins. With that simple act, the silent metal found its voice, currency. For the first time, value could travel. Armies, merchants, and empires could trade not by weight or barter, but by symbol. And that symbol would echo for millennia. When Alexander the Great swept across Asia, gold was his shadow. His empire wasn't held together by loyalty alone. It was sustained by the constant flow of gold looted, mined, and minted to keep his soldiers paid and his legacy alive. Wherever he went, gold followed. But gold's power was not just physical, it was psychological. Humans were drawn to it in ways that defied logic. It doesn't feed us, clothe us, or shelter us. Yet it moves us more than anything else ever found in the earth. Perhaps that's because gold is permanence. In a world of decay, gold remains pure. And so, when civilizations looked for stability, for something that could endure wars, rulers, and chaos, they always turned to gold. The Romans knew this well. At the height of their empire, the Roman aureus coin was more than money, it was power stamped into metal. The emperor's face on gold was the ultimate propaganda, a statement to every soldier, merchant, and citizen. Your wealth is backed by Rome itself. But even Rome, with all its might, learned what happens when gold runs dry. As the empire expanded, the flow of gold from conquered lands slowed. The government began to debase its coins, mixing gold with cheaper metals, reducing purity while keeping the same face value. It was one of history's first lessons in inflation. And soon, the illusion broke. When faith in gold faded, faith in Rome followed. Their empire, once golden, began to crumble not from invasion alone, but from the erosion of trust. Centuries later, after Rome's fall, gold became the lifeblood of kings. In medieval Europe, it was locked away in castles, minted into crowns, and carried across continents by traders of the Silk Road. Yet it wasn't just a symbol of power, it was a weapon. The ones who controlled gold controlled war. Kings borrowed from bankers to fund their conquests, promising future treasures that often never came. And from this dependency, a new power emerged: the bankers themselves. In Florence, the Medici family rose not with armies but with ledgers. Their gold financed popes, built cathedrals, and shifted the balance of Europe. Theirs was a golden empire without borders, built not on swords but on numbers. And in that transformation, gold evolved again. It became both visible and invisible, physical and abstract, a promise stored in vaults and whispered through contracts. It became the foundation of credit, of banks, of the modern financial world. When explorers set sail across the oceans, they weren't chasing discovery, they were chasing gold. The age of exploration was, at its core, a global gold rush. The Spanish conquered the Americas not merely for glory or faith, but for the rivers of gold that flowed through Incan and Aztec lands. From that moment, gold became global. It tied continents together, for better and worse. Ships carried it across oceans, empires built their wealth on it, and entire populations were enslaved to mine it. The silent metal had become a force of domination, as if the earth itself demanded a price for the glitter it offered. By the 19th century, gold ruled the world again, not through kings, but through systems. The gold standard. Nations tied their currencies to fixed amounts of gold, binding economies together under one measure of truth. For decades it worked. Gold kept governments honest, economies stable, and inflation in check. But gold is a paradox. It gives trust, yet limits ambition. It stabilizes, but restrains growth. And as the world modernized, that restraint became unbearable. Wars tested it. Governments printed more than they had. And by the mid-20th century, the silent power began to break under the noise of progress. In 1971, U.S. President Richard Nixon severed the final link ending the convertibility of the U.S. dollar to gold. For the first time in modern history, money was not backed by anything tangible, it was backed only by belief. And so the world entered a new era, where gold no longer ruled money, but remained the ghost behind it. Central banks still hoard it. Investors still seek it in crises. Because deep down, even in the age of digital wealth and crypto coins, humanity still trusts the one thing that never lies: gold. Why does gold still matter? Because it represents more than wealth. It represents certainty in an uncertain world. Every ounce is a fragment of permanence, a connection to thousands of years of trust. From the tombs of pharaohs to the vaults of Wall Street, from the coins of Rome to the bars locked beneath Fort Knox, gold's silence has spoken louder than the promises of any government. It has outlasted currencies, empires, revolutions, and it will likely outlast us too. When the noise of markets fades, when paper and pixels lose meaning, what remains is what always has: a quiet glimmer. A reflection of human belief, ambition, and fear captured in a single metal. That is the silent power of gold. If you've enjoyed this journey through time, remember, history doesn't just tell us where we've been. It whispers where we're going. Subscribe to the Echoes of Wealth to uncover more stories of power, legacy, and the hidden forces that shape our world.